Welcome to the third live weekly group call of the April Tidy Mind Club. Thank you so much for being here with me today, for showing up to learn a little bit more about the Tidy Mind process. And it has been detox week. So you should be on about day 5 of your detox. Or if you did the detox in March and you decided to do just your optimizing days for this past this past 5 days and more the next 5 days to come, if you're doing your optimizing days, I want to congratulate you on doing that. And if you are detoxing, I want to encourage you to keep going with your plan. If you did not decide to go ahead and do the detox with the group, please do take advantage of that at some point. All you have to do is just register, and you fill out your information on your PS360 profile, and it will give you that immunity boosting detox protocol so that you can go through that 10 days and you can give your body a cleanse, you can give it a reset, you can rest your organs, rest your digestive system, just get your body ready to be able to be at its optimal state, and also increase your immune system. So all of that is extremely important right now. So if you have been doing the detox, congratulations. Hopefully you are proving a lot of things to yourself that you can do that maybe you thought you couldn't. And this is going to go a long way also with your mind care, which is what we're here today to talk about, all about how to care for your mind. I hope that the Tidy Mind process has been helpful up to this point. If you're in your second go around, if you were a March member, I hope that you are learning even more the second time around than you did the first. Sometimes with the first go through, you're kind of just focusing on getting the steps right, and am I doing the exercises the right way, and am I getting all the content in, am I having time to listen to the meditations? And then on the second go round, you feel maybe a little bit more relaxed. You've reviewed all of the information, and now you kind of know what you're in for, you know what you're doing a little bit, you know what to expect, and you can go a little deeper into what we are teaching in the Tidy Mind process. So we're going to go ahead and get started on today's content. If at any time you can't hear me, I have had super bad internet in the chat. And as soon as I say that, it says my connection is unstable. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to make you guys sit through trying to understand what I'm saying if my voice is mumbled or in slow motion or whatever. We'll just stop, and I will record it, and then I'll just send you the recording so that you don't have to struggle through an hour of trying to hear what I'm trying to say to you. So, all right, we're going to get started. And if the audio gets too bad, please put something up for me in the chat box so that I can know. I can't hear what you hear on your end. All right, I'm going to share my screen right now. And move things around. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. And as I said, welcome to this third call in April. And today we are going to focus on resolving unwanted behaviors, overeating versus emotional eating, emotional release and grief, understanding the addictive behavior cycle. And if this looks familiar to you, this is the same slideshow I used for March, but as you know, every call is different, and different content will come out of this call than it did the first one. You also have access to listen to the call replay from March if you want to. There'll be, no matter if we're focusing on the same thing, you're going to hear different information. So I would suggest that you look into that. So far on our journey, we have learned that each step in this Tidy Mind process builds on the next. And every day has 3 joy steps, and that is creating a foundation for joy by clearing out our fears. You've been looking at your Tidy Mind house, you've been observing your mind, you've been separating out from your mind, you've been understanding your mind in a new way, You've been using some tools to know where DJ is going in each of the rooms and what DJ is doing in those rooms, and seeing its habits, its tendencies, the places it gets stuck, the places it obsesses over. So you've been just kind of taking an inventory, and I hope you are doing your journaling, because that is really helpful. So week 1 and 2, this is just a little bit of review time, but this week we're going to learn to love DJ. And for some of you, you might think, there is no way this I have felt so abused by this voice in my head for so long. It's critical, it manipulates, it guilts, it shames, it punishes, it brings up the most horrible images and memories of the past. It tortures me with these memories. It seems so cruel and so mean. How can I love something like this? And what I'm hoping by now, this is going into week 3, you've already been into week 3. I'm hoping by now that you can start to see this mind of yours as just a hurt part of you. This is just the hurt child voice inside your head that needs the love, it needs the attention, it needs parented in a different way than it ever received. It needs kindness, it needs compassion, it needs to be listened to. And a lot of you have had personal sessions with me so far, and you've seen kind of how we get into the bottom of these boxes. And when we get into the bottom of the boxes, what I have you guys do is really allow this mind, this childish part of you that you've been hating and just wanting to push away and wanting to shut up, you bring it into you and you say, all right, I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to help you. And sometimes, you know what? You just need to be told you're right about something. Sometimes our little child part of us trying to warn us about situations, trying to warn us about other people. And we're so grown up now, and we've read all of our self-help books, and we've listened to all this, how we should be, what we should think, how we should treat people, and we've listened to all of that, and we say, no, I shouldn't think that about that person. Nope, I should just tolerate this, and I should just be kind, and you're missing the point. And you're feeling bothered, and you're feeling stuck, and you're like, I want this bothered emotional feeling to just stop. And it won't just stop until you stop ignoring it and address what it is saying. So that's what we do in our sessions. I help people tell some people in their past off. I let you take these people who you weren't able to express your feelings to. It wasn't allowed. You weren't able to say, no, I don't like this. No, I don't want that. No, you're hurting me. You weren't able to say those things in a safe space without being punished, without being pushed away, without some consequence. And so many people I'm finding are just afraid of other people's reactions and the consequences that they'll face if they express themselves. So we give you permission to do all of this expressing. So we have separated out from DJ to make this caregiving a more doable action. So we've separated, we've started to understand this part of you, and now we're going to be loving this part of you. And this part just needs to feel loved. It needs to feel safe. It also needs to know that you know what its needs are, that you've taken the time to get to know what the needs are of this part of you, and to say, you know what, you don't have to look outside of yourself to get those needs met anymore. I'm going to help you meet those needs. That's what I'm here for. And before, I didn't even know that this part of me existed. I didn't know I could be the caretaker of this part of me, but now I do. So number 2, we're also unpacking this week by looking at the bottom of those boxes and finding the fear in there. You've already started this process, and I believe you've gotten to the point where you would have listened to releasing the fears of the past. That meditation helps you, once you identify something that you're your mind, your DJ is upset about and holding on to, you listen to that meditation and it walks you through helping DJ be able to release that thing once and for all. For DJ to get the validation, to get the closure, to get the feeling of satisfaction, of relief. And when DJ, your mind starts to feel relief, you'll know it. You'll feel it in your body. It's like, thank you. I just needed you to admit that there's truth to what I'm saying. I just needed somebody to be on my team. I just needed somebody to hear me. I just needed, you know, I didn't need anything to change. I didn't need someone else to do something different. I just needed you to hear what I was saying and agree with me. And then it releases it. It drops it. It lets it go. And that's all that was necessary. But we spend so much time, you know, before we learn we're the caretaker, fighting this part of us, fighting our feelings, denying our feelings, wishing it wasn't there, wishing it would go away, wishing we didn't hate this person, wishing we didn't feel those things about this person. You do. And what I want you to come to understand and accept is that is okay. It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you all these things that your mind fears that you will be labeled as. It just makes you a human being that had a feeling because it was hurt. This part of you was hurt. These thoughts came in. These emotions were created from the thoughts, and it's all okay. And in that acceptance, there is a real forgiveness. There's a real self-acceptance. There's a real self-love that starts to come in. So you're going to be doing a lot of that loving this part of you, not judging it, not criticizing it, not condemning it for feeling certain ways. We're putting down the measuring stick, putting down the, you know, punishing each other and saying, it's okay that you feel this, and I hear you, and I'm sorry. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, that feels good. That feels better, that we're not at war inside anymore. Maybe we're on the same team. And once this part of you feels like you're on the same team, that trust starts to build. And this is where the unwanted behaviors come in. Then this part of you isn't in all that pain anymore. This part of you isn't feeling unheard and misunderstood. And this part of you controls your actions and behaviors. So it's very important that you get it to be on your team. It starts to trust you, and then those unwanted behaviors start to clear up naturally. You start to listen to it more and more and more. I have one of my clients that I work with, and she'll know who I'm not going to say your name, but you'll know who I'm talking about when you hear me talk. But her mind has been telling her for a long time that she doesn't, it has a lot of fears and doesn't enjoy the job she does. And she just didn't know that she had a choice or could listen to that part of herself. But this part of her has been trying to tell her, but she's just been pushing through and making herself do it. And that has caused this part of her to act out in unwanted behaviors. And it comforts itself because of the things she's making it do. It comforts itself with eating. So it's like, and she's noticing this now. She's seeing the patterns that, uh-oh, it's time to go to work tomorrow. My mind, my intake of food has been so much bigger. The things I've been craving and going after are all of those comfort foods. She's noticing the patterns now. And it's this part of her that's been so upset, and it's nervous about work. It doesn't enjoy that environment. It doesn't enjoy. So now she's starting to, she hasn't changed it yet, but this is the first step. And that is just to acknowledge that this part has been screaming out for help. This caretaker of hers didn't know how to take care of it or listen, didn't even know it had a choice to listen. And so this took matters into its own hands and used food to comfort itself. It coped with what it was having to do that felt out of alignment to it. It didn't feel good to it. So it's like, well, I'm going to have to make myself feel better in the best way that I can. So all of this emotional eating started to happen. So think about that. Think about if your mind's been trying to tell you for years it doesn't like to do something, but you've had the mindset or the belief system, no, you have to push through. There's going to be things in life that you don't like. You're just going to have to make yourself do it. Think about that. Like, think if you have that mentality and think, you know what? I've been hurting myself with that my entire life. And now I'm ready to change that. I'm ready to stop. She's also noticed that when she spends time outside, she's a guardian diplomat. I keep calling her a guardian. She's in between a guardian and a diplomat. And she's like, when I'm having her track her food, so that's how she knows what's going on with her food intake. When she works outside, she doesn't eat near as much. Like, it's incredible how much less her mind goes to food when she's outside enjoying herself. Her mind feels relaxed. This DJ is having fun. It feels taken care of. It feels not threatened by anything. So guess what? It's not numbing itself with food. So get to know your mind. It's worth it, and it will help those unwanted behaviors. So in number 3, we started week 1 with identifying what we felt and where we felt it. Then week 2, we watched to see which dysfunctional rooms DJ hangs out in most and what records she plays there. This week we'll look into the depths of those, look into the depths of those boxes, playing those records, and find the fear. So I had you listen to the audios that were coming out of the rooms, and I had you label those records to say, you know, this is the train of thought that I think when I start to feel this feeling. I'm feeling bothered or frustrated, and so I'm listening to the record. Yep, I hear the thoughts that are going on in there. I'm writing them down. It's about 6 or 7 sentences. That's the lyrics of your record. And then you're like, oh, that's coming from the people room, because that was all about last week when I talked to my neighbor and she threatened me with this and that and didn't like where I parked my car and all this stuff. So that was coming out of the people room. And then you were to label the record. So all of this is just, we're in the organizing phase of all the stuff that your mind is talking to you about. Now, when you start in, you're already started the release part, but you're emptying out those boxes. And when we start to dig deeper into our boxes, what we realize is that it's usually not about the person that's in your world right now. It's not about the current situation. The current situation is just stepping on an old wound that DJ is still holding on to. So it's usually never about your husband, or never about your daughter, or never about your friend next door. It's never really about them, but it's usually, when you dig down deeper, the way they act and the things that they do and the way that they make you feel connects to a wound that you have from the past. This is another thing we do in sessions. When I have them tell this person off, whoever they're mad at in their present everyday situation, I will have them tell the person off. And as they're telling them off, I'm writing down everything that they say, so that when they're done ranting through it, and they'll say, and I have them also, this is another good point y'all need to remember, when you're telling that, if you're doing this work on your own, if you're telling that person off, tell that person off in a 7-year-old's language. Not, I think you are manipulating the situation by, no, that's adult language. 7-year-old would say, you're mean, you're selfish, you don't care about anybody, you don't care about me. Like, that's how a 7-year-old tells somebody off. Very simple, easy terms. So when I have them get into their 7-year-old role and tell this neighbor off, or whoever is in their current situation, tell them off. first of all, they feel better because they wouldn't give themselves permission because they're adults now and they shouldn't be talking like that, or so they say. They get relief from that. And then I type down all the words that they use. And then I say, okay, I want you to forget about this neighbor now. I'm going to read these words back to you. And who in your past, mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, someone from the age probably 9 or under, maybe even a teenager, would you have described in this exact way? Would you have wanted to say these exact words to? And every single time, it's like a light bulb goes off in their head and they're like, oh my God, that's my mother. Like they are acting exact. I mean, I couldn't see it because it's such a different situation. But when you put it that way, I can see it. Like that she is treating me exactly like my mother treated me. And it hurts so much. And I never got to tell these things to my mother. So then that's the bottom of the box. So when I'm talking about getting to the bottom of the box, that's what I'm talking about. You've got to dig down deep. It's not about the person in your current world. It's deeper than that. It's a deeper wound. You get down there, and then we go one step further, and I have them say, okay, bring your mother in, and we're going to freeze her in time. You're not going to get in trouble. You're not in any danger. She's not going to punish you or have a reaction that you're scared of. You're perfectly safe to say what you need to say. They're able to release it, and it's a very big release that they have. So that is at the bottom of our boxes. And it's important to, get down there and let this part of you finally, it's been waiting for years to be able to say what it needs to say. It's been waiting for years on an apology. Just because these parents that raised you were adults doesn't mean they shouldn't have ever had to tell you they were sorry. We're all humans in this experience, and they didn't know. I mean, even the best parents in the world can say things that we take the wrong way, or we misinterpret, or we assume that they meant this and they really didn't. That happened with me yesterday. And you have to be so, when you're raising kids or grandkids, so on top of things with the words that you use, the communication. I was talking to my 2 sons, and I have a house that's about an hour from where that they live in Birmingham, and I was trying to get them to come up here with me. I've been talking to them about this for a little while. My youngest son, he's happy to come. Like, I don't have to convince him, don't have to talk him into it. Now my teenage son, it's like, he's like pulling him away from all of his technology, all of his, comforts of home. This is kind of like rustic out here in the woods. So I always have to talk him into it. So they were both sitting there in the room with me, and I was really talking to the oldest one. His name is Max, and I was talking to him about, and do you want to come up with me tomorrow? I'll come back and get you, and I'll do this and that. And then my 12-year-old Cooper, he said, can I come too? And I was like, well, of course. But in his mind, he could have taken that as, I'm not important. She doesn't want me. She didn't ask me to come. She's only asking my brother to come. Like, easily, he could have assumed all those things. And if he had not have spoke up and asked, he could have carried that with him for years, thinking that his brother was more important than him. I didn't love him as much as I loved him. So many, see how easy. Let me check these comments here in case my audio is bad or something. Let's see. Hold on. I'm good? Okay. But see how easily those misunderstandings can take root in a very young, impressionable mind. And communication goes a long way. When kids aren't afraid to speak up and say things like that, they can clear it up right then and there. And then even after that, after I was driving home, I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if he thought that I didn't want him to come. So I texted him. I said, Cooper, I want you to know the reason I wasn't talking to you directly is because I assumed you would be coming, and I didn't even think about asking. And I hope you know that I always want you here. So I went over it. He's like, Mom, I know. But I also know from working with so many people on these childhood hurts that how important it is to clear those things up right then and there so that they don't carry this around, because that's why we're here. Like, that's why our minds are anxious, are fearful, are having all these unwanted behaviors. It's because of a lot of misunderstandings. And some of them weren't misunderstandings. Our DJs were right in their assumptions of what was going on in the house. It's like, no, you did favor this one and you did treat me like this. And that was all true. Sometimes that's the case. But regardless of how that misunderstanding got, or that hurt got in there, whether it was a misunderstanding or a truth, it's a hurt. And it shapes our behaviors. It shapes our mental health. It shapes our relationships. Just so many things. It's just like a root that's planted, and it just grows, and it just touches each and every aspect of our life. And if you can dig down deep into that box and get to the root of that hurt and pull it out, guess what? Just like that root touches so many aspects of your life, when you pull it out and you get that healing and you get that relief, all of those aspects of your life are also touched. And they also are healed. And so it's just like a miraculous thing. So that's what week 3 is about. Okay. Resolving unwanted behaviors. How is this happening? And I just went over that quite a bit. It is happening by getting down to the root cause of the hurt that is causing you to need to numb the pain, and also understanding your mind and giving it what it needs, identifying yourself as the caretaker who's going to care for it, so it doesn't have to do this on its own anymore. It that's a horrible feeling too, to feel like you're alone in this. And if your mind doesn't know that there's this part of you that loves it and cares for it and wants to help it, and also your God room is important, and we can get into that later, but the God room, your faith in something even bigger than the caretaker, the third role here, you've got the mind, you've got you as the caretaker, and then you've got your God room. So all three of these together create a very solid system of safety. And if your God room's kind of in a mess, that's easy to do too. Like, depending on your faith, your religion, what you were brought up in. I was brought up in a Christian faith. For the most part, it was teaching, there's much truth in what it's saying, but the slightest little spin on those exact same words can instill a lot of fear, where it should be something that feels safe and loving. Now you feel afraid. You feel afraid to be yourself, because what if I'm sinning, or what if I'm doing bad, or what if I'm doing this, or what if, and then you start to judge yourself, and then so it can also get a little messy in our God room. And we want our God rooms to be as safe of a space as they possibly can. So I won't get into that. I do have an audio that you can listen to that's called The Importance of the God Room. It may come up in one of your lessons over the Tidy Mind course. I'm not sure if I put it in there on one of the days or not, but you can find it on YouTube. So that is how overcoming the unwanted behaviors happen, is by healing this inner relationship, helping this part know that it's not alone. It doesn't have to care for itself, that you're there to care for it, helping it relax, helping it trust you, releasing the pain that it is numbing. So all those things are what reduces the unwanted behavior, which creates a relaxed mind. And a relaxed mind is a quiet one. It is quiet. It leaves you alone. it's there. It's there for creativity. It's there for excitement sometimes. It's there. It's like a small child who's happy, who feels happy and safe. It's entertaining. It's fun. It's, yeah, it's loving. Like it becomes all those things once it starts to relax. So just like a relaxed functional child is a lot of fun, and a child who feels unsafe, who feels hurt, who feels scared all the time, not a fun thing to hang out with. It's just not. But if you know how to care for it, and you learn about it, you know its needs, and each one of your minds has individual needs. All of our minds are not the same. If you've been reading about the health types, you're learning that a diplomat mind has different needs than a activator mind. A connector mind has different needs than the guardian mind. So you got to know your mind, and you got to know what it needs. And the only way that you can do that, you can read about your health type, of course, and your mental tendencies, but have a conversation. Find out, what are you needing right now? What are you needing that you're not getting? And mine used to say, I need more fun. Like, I'm not having any fun. You have me sitting in front of this computer every day doing this and doing, like, I need to go out and just be free to explore and have fun. And so I have to give that to them. I have to do that and say, okay, you're right. And then I also have to ask myself, well, if I'm pushing my mind to do things that it doesn't want to do, why am I doing that? Am I trying to prove something? You know, like, is this a belief system in me that I need to look into? Like, why am I doing this behavior? So you're listening to this part of you, getting to know this part of you, all of that helps your unwanted behaviors. Overeating versus emotional eating. What is overeating? So overeating is eating for any other reason than hunger, or continuing to eat even when your body is satisfied. So you're eating, but you're eating too much, or you're eating when your body's not asking for food. That is overeating. And emotional eating is, well, I didn't put that in the slide, but emotional eating is you're eating to numb a pain. You're feeling bothered inside, you're feeling anxious, you're feeling whatever your emotional reason is, and then you go and you use food as a coping mechanism for that emotion. But now you're learning that that's not your only coping tool. Now you have this conversation that can happen between you two. You can be the caretaker. So DJ's made food your answer for everything. I'm bored. Well, let's eat. I'm feeling excited and creative. Okay, well, let me get something to eat while I think through this plan. I have a lot of excessive energy in my body. Oh, I need to eat because I don't know what else to do. I'm trying to make a decision. I've got this big decision I've got to make, and I'm really kind of feeling stressed out about it. Okay, well, let me go sit down and eat. Your food just becomes the go-to answer, and that's how we get into, food is no longer fuel. Food is just an answer for everything. It's also I think we learned that, and I brought this up in the first call, but we learn that, when we're young, we're looking for comfort. We're looking for ideas on what to do. We're looking for whatever it is we're looking for. And usually when we're children, we go to our mother for that. And where is our mother? Where do we find our mother? For me, growing up, if I wanted to go talk to my mother, I wanted to ask her, I'm bored, what can I do? Or I need help with something, or I need a hug, or I need this or that. Where did I go in my house to find my mother? The kitchen. That's where she always was. I don't know if y'all had a mother that was always cleaning or cooking or doing something, hanging out in the kitchen. My mother was always in the kitchen. So I think our minds are almost, it's a subconscious thing that we train ourselves. It's like, well, I need this, I need that, I need to ask a question, I need comfort, I need a hug. Go to the kitchen. So we're using, the refrigerator has become our mother. The stove, the whole environment of the kitchen is that feeling of comfort. Well, this is where you go when you need something, when you have a need that's not being met. This is where you go. So we're going to have to retrain our minds that there are other solutions when you need help with things that we can do. We can start to go to our mission room. We can start to, if we're bored, we can start to sit down and have brainstorms about things. Or we can say, well, maybe I can create masks, or I can go to my sewing room, or I can knit, or maybe I can write letters to people who are sick or trapped at home, or, you know, there's lots of, you know, you can find solutions for boredom. But anyway, that's just the point, is that DJ has made food your answer for anything. So spending more time in the mission room can help DJ keep DJ busy and productive, and help it come up with other things to do besides eat. Okay. All right, so what is emotional eating? Emotional eating is a form of overeating because we are eating to numb an emotional state. In the past, we have not known how to handle what we feel inside. An emotion is a moment of discomfort, a wave of energy generated by a thought or a memory. DJ grabs that thought or memory instead of allowing it to just be there and let it pass. Sorry, I've got my box over here. Allowing it to pass on by. We'll be learning how to allow these waves to pass through and help DJ to allow instead of attach. So if you think about a thought that comes through, a wave of energy, maybe a memory has come up that creates a lot with grief, but you have this wave that comes through. Emotions are natural. Emotions aren't the enemy. DJ's not the enemy. Thoughts aren't the enemy. You're like a receiver, like you are like the atmosphere. And those thoughts are just like clouds that are passing through. And sometimes we have stormy days, and we have a cleansing going on inside. And sometimes we have bright sunny days, and there are no clouds, and DJ's all nice and quiet and still. But it's an ebb and flow. It's always changing. So the point of this is how we cope with those ups and downs, those ebbs and flows. How deep we go into despair on those stormy days inside our mind, or how we're able to maintain our stability. So hopefully with a calm and relaxed mind, you're able to have those thought clouds come through. And this COVID thing is a perfect example of that. So say you've found your balance, you've cared for your DJ, you two have created trust, and DJ has started to become really relaxed and trust you, and has started to become quiet. Then something like a pandemic, for instance, happens. A pandemic happens, and here you are with you and your DJ are just like this now. Y'all are a good team, good partners, and you are watching this. You're observing this together. You're seeing the fear. You're seeing the overwhelm. You're seeing the terror. And those thoughts, the same thoughts that are going through everybody else's mental atmosphere, through their tidy mind, those same thoughts are filtering through yours as well. Oh my God, what if this happens to me? What if one of my family gets sick? What if I can't go see them? There's a thought train that we've all heard inside our head. What if I come down with it? Do I go to the hospital? How do I get, all of the what ifs, all of the uncertainty? How do I get my groceries? How bad is this going to get? Is all the food going to go away? Which now we're kind of getting to the other end, kind of going downhill now. It's starting to get better, but we're seeing other things happen in the world. So point is, all that's happening. And if you've got a good relationship here, DJ might start to get a little scared watching this, right? Here comes the clouds. You want them to just say, yes, DJ, we see that. I see that. And we're going to know what to do. when we need to do it. Let's let those fears, those thought clouds pass right on through. Let's don't attach to them and pull them in and chew on them and bring fear into our mental house. Let's don't do that, because that's not a good tidy house. Let's let those clouds go on by. If DJ trusts you, you got a good solid relationship, that will work. However, sometimes those fears can come passing by. You're standing here and you're keeping DJ calm, but DJ sees it and is like, oh God, oh, I'm listening. I'm watching it. I'm watching TV like 15 hours a day, and it gets further and further away from you. It's watching the fear, and then it grabs one of those clouds. Now you got to do your release work all over again. Now it's attached to a fear, and you've got to say, hey, you got to talk your own self down off a ledge at 3 in the morning and say, hey, whoa, wait. I know what you just did. You attached to this fear, but it's okay. I'm here. Tell me why you're so afraid. Well, I don't want this to happen. I don't know what I'll do. Like, you have to do the whole process again and then calm your mind down. So I'm not saying that these thoughts aren't going to come through. These emotions are not going to come through. They are. They're part of life. It's going to pass through your tidy mind house. But the point is to keep this relationship so strong of trust, of clarity, of helping this part of you let go of things, relax about things, stay calm about things, getting super good at that, getting super good at being the caretaker. And then when things like this happen, you can maintain that balance and you can know what to do. If you don't, this thing right here makes what's happening outside 1,000 times worse just because it's upset now and it's talking to you about it all day. It's still happening. We can't change what's going to happen on the outside of us, but we can have some control over the amount of either mental calm or mental torment that we suffer because of what's going on around us, if that makes sense. So, yes, emotion is a moment of discomfort. We feel it. We calm DJ down about it. We do a little process, ask what it needs to let go of, and then we move on past it. It's when DJ grabs hold of it and then talks about it, creates an audio about it, and plays this audio for you. That's when the torment happens. So learning how to just let these things pass is very important. All right, let's talk just a little bit about grief. And this is a big topic for a lot of people. And grief is not just, a lot of people think grief is only when someone that we love passes. And that's not true. We can grieve so many things. A grief is when something that we once had is no longer there. That can be a person, that could be a pet, that could be a job, that could be a house, that could be a car even, that could be a belief that we once had, a belief in a person, a belief in ourselves, an identity that we once had. It's gone now. It's taken away. It's no longer there. And we were finding great comfort and great safety in that thing. And now we're left feeling almost exposed, as like, I don't know where to find my safety, where to find my comfort. If you've gone through the tidy mind process, you cope with this much better because you know that you don't find it in all those things outside anyway. It's an inner relationship. That's where you find your true safety. But for people who've never heard about this, doing this for your mind, that's hard. That is really, really hard. So grief is the most intense emotional discomfort. Grief can be anything that leaves your current everyday reality shattered. Grief leaves DJ in a stunned state or a state of shock. DJ is not senseless, but once those senses start to come back, the depth of the emotional pain created by DJ is intense. I know when someone passes, and they've been part of your everyday, like every day. You've seen this person every day for 50 years, like my mom did with my dad. Like that state of shock, her world as it was is done. Her daily experience no longer exists. So there's this state of, there's what I like to call it a grace period of being in this state of, you know, it's happened, but your mind feels numb to the reality of what has happened. It can't quite, it's so absurd to your mind that this has happened that it can't accept it. So it's kind of like the denial phase of the 5 phases of grief. But it's so shocked that it's numb. So that's like this grace period. If you've ever seen people right after they've lost someone close to them, and you see them at the funeral home or wherever you go to visit them, and they just look like they're just fine. Like, I'm good. Like I'm handling this pretty well. And you're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know that you are. But to them, that is where their mind is right now. And I think that that's actually a gift. I think it's a gift that our mind is able to have that state of numbness, to be able to get through what you have to get through in those early days right after death, to be able to continue on, to carry on, to do all of the logistical things that have to be done, the everyday things that have to be done when this is such a shocking thing that has happened. So DJ is left in this stunned state or state of shock. Now, everyone grieves in a different way. Everyone handles situations in a different way. So if you have someone right now, and it's very possible with the virus that we've been having going around, who is grieving, it's important. I know a lot of us don't know how to help someone who has lost someone, and we may even find ourselves avoiding them not because we don't love them or care about them. We're just afraid of saying the wrong thing or saying something offensive. But what they need in that moment is just no judgment, just to let them ever how they're reacting, ever how they're going through this, to allow that to be okay. The same thing that you would do for your mind in not judging it, of being this open space of accepting, approving, unconditional love. That's what they need. And they also need you to not go in there with the expectation that they're going to be in grief already, you know, that they can't laugh now, or so let them kind of lead the show, like follow their lead. If they're in kind of a happy, joking mood, go with that. Like they're, you know, follow what they're doing. If they're more wanting to talk about what's happened and they need to express, allow that. Be whatever it is that they need in that moment, but also let them know that there is absolutely no judgment on your part, and that it's okay. Ever how they're acting or coping with this in this moment is good, and that you're there for them to support them. A lot of people feel very alone during grief. You've got a lot of people around right after someone passes, and then where is everybody? Like, you know, when the real deep emotional pain hits, there are no dinners coming to your house. There's nobody stopping by and checking on you. You're left alone in that house where your whole world has changed. So to be a support even after that is helpful as well. So there was more that I wanted to say on grief. And actually, we're getting close to question and answer time, but I think I would like to do, and I didn't do this last time, but I would like to do just a little, maybe even a 5-10 minute meditation for grief. And those of you who are with me live, if you want to just close your eyes for a minute. I have no idea where this is going to go or what's going to come out, but I think that maybe some healing for your mind can happen. And it could just be that you need to feel that it's okay to feel whatever you feel or whatever you don't feel about something. Your grief doesn't have to be about someone who has passed, like I said, I want you to use your own personal experience as we close our eyes and we take a deep breath. I want you to think about something that was once in your life that brought you great comfort, brought you a feeling of safety, of security, that allowed you to relax just by knowing it was there. That gave you great comfort. And again, this could be a belief of some kind that's been shattered. You used to believe that this was true, and now it's been exposed that it's not true. And it used to help you relax to know it was true, and now you don't have it anymore. So think about an experience like that for yourself. And I want you to your little DJ in your mind. And I want you to see yourself as the caretaker. And I want you to go to DJ. And in your mind, I want you to see, because DJ's now starting to think about this thing that it no longer has, that it's trying to process what's happened. It's trying to let go of it. It's trying to forgive. It's trying to heal. But it's maybe just not sure how to let go of the pain of this loss yet. So in your mind, ask DJ, what is it that you lost, that you once had? And I'll give you just a few minutes to think about that. What have you lost? Or what do you think you've lost? And if this is a person, ask the next question. Well, by having this person, what did they bring you? What did they bring into your life? What need did they feel for you? If it was a job, you can ask the same question. What need did it fill for you? How did it give you comfort? If it was a role or an identity that you lost, maybe all of your kids grew up and left home, and you had this role of being super mom, and now none of them call you. They don't seem like they need you. What did you lose? And what need was being filled by this thing that is no longer present in your life? And then I want you to ask DJ what it thinks would fix this. What does it need to release this pain, to feel better? And sometimes, you know, as a child, the answer would be, I will just want it back. Just bring it back. And sometimes, especially if this is a death you're thinking about, it's not possible to bring that back physically. But you can bring the feeling back through memory. So I want you to ask DJ to do that now. Say if that makes you feel better, to feel surrounded by that feeling of whatever this need supplied for you, I want you to imagine that that's happening right now. That job has returned, that person has returned, and you're just having a moment of experiencing that safety once again. Experiencing that comfort. Experiencing that need being met. And notice if you feel any sensations in your body, in your physical body, maybe in your heart or your stomach, your throat. And I want you to imagine that this memory is just wrapping around you like a nice hug. And I want your mind, this little DJ, I want it to relax. I want it to feel relieved. And it may be already starting to argue with this. Well, this isn't real. This is just imagined. This isn't going to work. And you can just say, you know what? It's okay. Just for a few seconds. Let's just pretend. Let's pretend that you can just relax and feel the relief of being surrounded by what it is you feel you're missing. Because this thing that you feel you lost brought you comfort. It fulfilled one of your needs. Just let yourself rest in that for a minute. And then I want DJ to understand that you're being the caretaker and you helped it to feel better. Even though you used a memory of a time when something outside of something that wasn't the caretaker gave it that quick feeling. Now you're giving it that feeling by helping it remember. You're helping it feel embraced, feel safe, feel loved, and have a moment of relief from that loss, from that grief. And I can feel myself, I feel a lot of warmth in my heart. It feels nice, even if it's just imagined. It feels really, really nice. And you might even, especially if it's the loss of a person, you might even feel emotion start to come up. You might want to cry. You might want to talk to this person and say, oh my gosh, it's so good just to feel you around me. And I want to tell you I miss you and I love you. And thank you for being here with me in my mind, my imagination. So let DJ know that you, the caretaker, gave it this moment to help it to relax, to help it feel better, to help it heal from this loss, from this grief. And that we know you wish this was real. You wish this would happen in reality, and that that's okay. And we know that maybe there's regrets and there's thoughts maybe that you need to let go of, and it's okay. You'll have time to release those later, and that you'll work with it to release those out of the box and to let those go and to realize that those aren't going to serve any purpose. They're not going to change anything. They're not going to bring anything back. And embrace this new relationship with this lost thing in your life. Knowing that in your mind, in your memories, this is the relationship that you have now. And embrace that and let that be enough. You can use it like a nice little security blanket when you're feeling the pain of the past. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Take a deep breath. Any of these little exercises that you do to help your mind to have a release of any kind goes a long way to healing. Even though your mind may be like, no, it won't, it does. It does help you to have these releases along the way. So signs of release, I'm not going to bring my slideshow back up, but signs of release can be crying, just feeling kind of exhausted, kind of tired. It takes a lot out. It takes a lot of stored energy when you're releasing emotionally. And you can feel like, oh, I need a nap. I don't think I can do anything else the rest of the day. So if that's what you feel after release, honor that and say, you know what, this was important work that I did. And I'm proud of my mind for allowing it to happen, because unless your mind's willing to allow it, unless it's willing to trust you enough to allow these releases, they won't happen. So your mind has a great deal to do with your progress. Yawning, I can't remember the others, but there's several signs of release, but mostly it's just you kind of feel tired, or you kind of feel like lighter. You can feel a feeling of like, oh, I don't know why, I just kind of feel a little bit better. You can also notice that you have a change in behavior. You're like, you know, I didn't even want that cookie. I didn't even think about that cookie today. And usually it's like on my mind all day, that cookie in the cabinet, that cookie in the cabinet, you know. Maybe that's just me. And then it's like you have a release one day, and then it's like, I was thinking about so many other things and that didn't even pop into my head. So those are all signs that your DJ is getting healthier and better, and that you're having a good release. So it is now time for question and answers. I don't know if we'll have very many today. If not, we'll just call it a day. But take 5 minutes, take a break, and we'll come back and we'll ask some questions. So ready to go do what you need to do, and I'll meet you back here in 5. Okay, I think we are back. Well, I'm back. I don't know if you are back. All right, let's see. Let's start to get into some question and answer time. First, before we get started, I want to say it was detox week. And just want to congratulate you again. Maybe you weren't here on the first of the call when I was talking about you guys doing your detox, but I would say congratulations for doing that. You should be on day 5. If you are a activator or connector, this is probably your last day on the detox protocol, and then you can go on to optimizing days. And if you're a guardian or diplomat, you got five more glorious days. If you're a guardian, it's 5 more days of broth. You guys are superheroes. I'm not sure how you do it, and I'm not made that way to be able to succeed in that, but you guys you do it. Like when y'all decide to do it, you do it. I've had many of you who are guardians in here tell me you went the whole 10 days, which is incredible. I want to invite you to finish call. During question and answer time, I would love for you to share your experience, your ups and your downs, your success. If you've lost weight, if you've had lowered blood pressure, if you've noticed your appetite has decreased, if you've been just incredibly shocked at how well you were able to not be hungry because you thought you probably would be and you weren't. So anything you want to share, anything at all, would help other people be able to go through their detox time a little easier, and also to encourage you left to do your lifetime support. So what that is the lifetime membership of PH360. If you have not taken advantage of that yet, I would definitely do that. If you're enjoying PH360, you're liking having all the access to the meals, you got the 30 days free just from being a Potty Mind Club member. But if you want to have that for the rest of eternity, you can, we'll put the link in here where you can get that for $197 instead of $997. So that's an incredible discount. And you will be getting all of the updates that they do from now to the end of time. They're constantly improving their system and their programs and adding so many things. And also, if you haven't joined the Global Immunity Community, I think that's the name of the Facebook group. You can also put in Booster. Is that what it is? Booster? Global Immunity Booster. I'm reading somebody's lips over here. I can't hear you, but I'm reading your. Okay. Anyway, we'll put the link. If you haven't joined that, they give great support for you during detox or optimizing days, or just anytime, just giving recipes. Julie, done a great job. Thank you so much for giving your pictures of things. And Margaret, I don't know if you're here on the call or not, but you've also been posting. Rochelle's constantly giving us great recipes and ideas. So thank you all. And other names I haven't mentioned, but just know that I appreciate each and every one of you for taking us through your optimizing days and your detox experience. Okay, now I said all of that. We're going to get into some questions. Jamie, I know you put in just a comment to me privately, but if you're on the call and you want to discuss anything, we can. If not, if you just want to say hi to everybody, that's good too. Jamie, are you here? If you are, unmute yourself. Let's see if I can see you. All right, maybe not on here. Maybe you're watching live on Facebook. And Jamie, also, you're another one who is absolutely incredible. You're there. You're always there and commenting and posting. So thank you so much for doing that. And I will address I'll send you a private message to address your question. And Patty says, do you suggest we talk to ourselves about what is going on every time we feel angry, for example? Patty, are you here with me? Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, here I am. Hi. Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Patty. How are you today?
Hi. I'm good, actually. I just want to say a comment about the detox. It's day 5 for me today. And the funny thing is I had not had enough greens just because of the situation we're in. I had a lot of carbs that I've been having, and with already day 5, I've been having salads. I even used some cabbage and made like a little cabbage salad thing. It just makes my body feel so good. It's like my body is craving it. It was like, thank God you're feeding me this, like, and I don't even need to eat that much. And I'm like, is this right? Because
is this for real?
yeah, because like I was having coffee but no milk, no carbs, no bread, no nothing, no milk products, and I'm like, I'm feeling good. And so I want to continue on. Quick question I had though, if it has like a small portion of salad, can you have more than that? Because it's salad, it's just vegetables and tomatoes and salad, like that's all there was. So I made a little bit more. I didn't think that was a bad idea. So
yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yes, eat.
Yeah,
definitely eat. And it's on your foods, and if your body's calling for it, eat it.
Yeah.
That's totally amazing. Was. Are you a diplomat?
I'm a diplomat. Yeah, I got 5 days, but yeah. But it's like I don't even want to go back to the carbs. Like I don't miss it. It's just because what I'm eating now makes me feel so much better. I wouldn't want to not feel as good. So why would I go back? Do you know what I mean?
Right. And it's really hard to explain to anybody unless you've done it and felt it for yourself, because it's something you really just have to experience yourself and feel
Mhm.
how that feels in your body. You do feel lighter. You feel like,
Yeah.
oh, and you feel free from food. You're like,
Yeah.
wait a
Yeah.
minute,
I'm
I
even,
didn't need
I,
all this
I'm,
stuff.
I took spinach and some pineapple and water, and that's like my smoothie. And it's so filling. And I'm like, like before I would try that and I wouldn't use the spinach and it would go bad. And the other
Yeah.
interesting point that I want to make is, so now I make sure I eat it every day with a smoothie every day so that I use it. And I don't know, you probably remember I started this a month ago, but I didn't really start till now.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy you kept it open, because even honestly, even to get started with this 10-day thing, you had to input all this information. The first
Yeah.
time I did it and I was like, forget it, I don't have time for this.
Right.
and, and this time I'm like, okay, set time aside, answer these questions, put them in the phone, do your measurements. And I did. Like before, everything was a little challenge. Now I'm like, I was aware that I was blocking it. And now I'm like, nope, you got to do this. It's for you. And I'm so glad that I'm at that point now. So thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't yet in the first intake, but then when you come along this month,
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
in, like I'm actively in. So
yeah, that's
yeah.
so good. I'm so very proud of you. Yeah.
So am I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep
Yeah.
going. You're
Thank you.
past
I'm
the
going
hard
to.
part.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
hope you're listening to the meditations each day too. There's some 5-minute meditations. You
I
seen
thought
them?
some of them,
Okay.
I've seen some of them, but I put them on, but I do it in the evening, so I might fall asleep to it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And no stress. Like you're doing great. You don't need the extra motivation, but if you wanted it, it's there for
I,
you.
I'm
So
yeah, I'm
it's,
gonna go back, but yeah,
yeah.
no, it's been great. My question was kind of like, I noticed I have a lot of anger, and I don't, and I just, every time it comes up though, do you question it? Because I'm starting to feel guilty for having the anger.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
do you question it every time it comes up, or do you, like, I think back, well, I shouldn't have said that, and I'm like, well, um, like, how much do you talk to yourself about it? Like, is the point of talking to yourself to get to feel it, or because I'm adding blame to it now?
Yes. Well, that's not what you're wanting to not, that's what you're wanting to come away from, adding the blame or shame or guilt. So when this part of you feels angry and
Mhm.
you're feeling it come up in your body, I would take the time, because sometimes your mind can say, am I going to have to do this is this
Yeah.
every other day, every day, like 10 times a day? Like, is this never going to end? And the
Yeah.
point is, if you can put in the time that it takes to learn how to treat this part of you without the shame, without the guilt, without any of that, and let it feel what it feels, it starts to express those feelings, and then it's not an everyday thing, because the
Okay.
anger has been released. So
Okay.
it's
Good.
going to keep coming at you, trying to get your attention about this thing until you address it appropriately. It's
Okay.
like in one of your rooms screaming at you, you're not listening, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
telling me to not feel this, and I do feel this, and you're not acknowledging what I'm trying to tell you. And
Yeah.
so if you keep it up, like if you keep saying, nope, I'm just stop it, you shouldn't feel this, you're going to have to do this every day. But
Okay.
if you
All right.
will address it and say, okay, I know how I have been treating you, and it's probably, I learned this probably from one of my parents. It's like, just shut it down. Let's don't go there.
Mm.
Let's don't feel this way. You're not supposed to think those things. You're not supposed to feel those things. You're not supposed to have anger. Why are you acting like a child? Like we learned that. And
Mm-hmm.
now we have to
Yes.
unlearn that, to
Yeah.
say, all right, look, you do feel this way, and it is okay. What is going on? And let that part of you, give it the floor, give it permission.
Okay.
You can make yourself a tell-off list if you like to. And I don't know if you hear at the first of the call, but
I did.
you
Yeah.
take that person on your list and you say, you know what, I'm going to tell you some things, And I'm going to say it from my 7-year-old perspective.
Yeah,
I'm going to allow myself to be a child right now. No filter, no judgment, no holding back. And I'm safe, and I'm not going to, there's no consequences. And that's a big part when people feel like they just can't express to someone. There's such a great fear of that person's reaction or their overreaction or their consequence to expressing themselves. So they have to be able to get over that fear before they're able to feel safe enough to do that. But if you're feeling safe enough and you trust this caretaker part of you to care for you, you and her go in there and you say, here you go, 7-year-old, have at it. Just tell them what you think. And I have some of the best sessions and the most entertaining sessions, and I wish I could record them and let y'all hear some of the things people say to tell people off. It is hilarious, but it's also therapeutic. So let yourself do it. And then you'll notice that once you are doing that, the release happens. Unwanted behavior stuff, you've already seen a decrease in unwanted behaviors. And then you're able to, she's not angry anymore. 7-year-old's not begging for your attention and bringing up this anger constantly. You've addressed it. You've let her say it. You agree with her too. Like, say, I hear you, and you know what? You're right. They are this. They are that. They do this. You're right. I hear you. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just that relief of like, you're not shutting me down. You agree. And I don't know what it is about that, but it's very relieving to that part of you that you believe it. Like a lot of kids, they try to tell their parents things and they're not believed. And so when that part of you feels heard and believed, like you believe me and you agree with me, it's like such a release. So give it a try and then send me a message if it's still going, and we'll work on it.
I'll let you know. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Patty. You're doing great on your detox, and thanks for sharing that with other people. Yeah, thank you. Okay. I always feel like I had to walk on eggshells as a child, afraid of what was going to happen in the night with the alcoholic stepdad, whether it was violence or other. I feel like I always had to be on my guard, afraid of making a mistake. And I see where that has carried over into my adult life even now, even after working all this stuff for years. But I still see this sets up anxiety for me and wondering how is the best way to ease away from that. At least I can recognize it now and talk my DJ through it, but it's still an ongoing issue in my life. I feel the palpitations in my chest even talking about this. So are you on the call with me? Do you want to unmute yourself and we can talk it through? Is that Julie? Oh, you're still muted. Hold on, let me unmute you. We can't get Julie unmuted. There you go. Yeah, hey.
Hi.
You're on now. Yeah. When you say that it's still, you recognize it now, like it's still an ongoing issue in your life, is there someone else playing this role for you that's triggering it, or is it just a memory?
It can be situations, even at work. Like, I feel if I make a mistake, I feel like I've made a mistake, but I'm afraid I have. It's like all of a sudden it's still overwhelming to me. I mean, it used to be. The good thing is, though, that I can recognize it. I used to have pretty raging panic attacks.
Yeah.
I was actually on medication for years. But I've weaned off all of that. So I am feeling it. But even it still comes up, and I'm sure it's always part of me. But being able to put myself through it when they do come up, at least I can recognize it at times and try to say this is what's happening. Okay, but I find where you were talking about the emotional eating, I use that.
What was that last part, Julie? I had a hard time.
I I see that I do use the emotional, the numbness feeling.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is a lot of anxiousness, restlessness for whatever reason. But I find myself, that's why they do so important for me to go through that. And I followed it perfect. Well, for me, it was what it was. It was to the T. And it wasn't difficult. It brought such clarity and peace. And so every day is so much better. The great things and the joy is so much better. But I see where that the anxiety thing, I think, is out of fear. Fear, and it still comes up
Yeah.
often.
Yeah. And it will until, so what you experienced when I read this is pretty intense stuff, like having a stepdad who's an alcoholic, feeling unsafe, on guard, totally afraid. Like that's a person who is very unstable in their reactions. You probably don't know what you're going to get from one minute to the next. So you're having to, it's an unpredictable situation, and it's unstable situation, and that can be traumatic. So what you're dealing with, it feels like to me, is a trauma. So and you can, I don't know if you're working with a therapist or working with someone, but I've definitely, bring that up because it's like post-traumatic stress syndrome. So if anybody steps on that, the feelings, the emotions that you're feeling are as intense as if you're still living in that house with that alcoholic stepdad. So it may not make sense to your logical mind. It's like, why would I be so afraid of this person who I work with, or this person's reaction to me, or why do I still, and it's because that DJ is very, like, very terrified. Like a trauma is like a terror, like there was a terror of something, and it was a shock. A trauma is like a shock to your DJ, that one of those things where it can't wrap its mind around what's happening, and you may not even realize it in the moment that you're in a trauma or being traumatized by something. You may think, well, this is just my life. This is just how life is, and I don't know any different. But you're in terror, and in a constant state of terror. So that will take you being able to comfort this part of you out of that terror, and being very patient with it, because you, Julie, I know you've been committed to your work in the Tidy Mind. I know you've done so much of it. You're doing so great, but also be patient with your mind to know that you're dealing with a really deep fear. This isn't just I'm a little scared of this. I'm like, that's a deep, terrorizing fear that DJ has experienced. So it's going to need some extra love, some extra time, some extra attention. It is like I've used this analogy before, but like a scared cat, like a cat that's been abused. This is a form of, being terrorized as a child is a form of abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. So this part needs extra patience, needs extra care, and the trust takes just a little bit longer. It just does, because it's like, yeah, but you don't understand what I've been through, DJ says. You don't understand the way I had to be on guard all the time, and the deep fears that I have, and I never felt safe when I should have been feeling safe as a kid. I don't even know what that feels like. So it's going to have to relearn, and you're going to have to become an excellent caretaker and your own therapist, and use your therapist or whoever you're using, and the Tidy Mind process to be able to care for that part of yourself. I don't know if I answered your question.
Well, it's good. And I feel like, I've done a lot of therapy group work for years and years ago, and I feel like right now, with your program and the technique, I'm going to the bottom of the box right now.
That's good.
Dig deeper.
Yeah.
I even went through a conversion reaction disorder years ago, where that didn't physically. But that's, I went through all of that, and I had to get to the joy that I'm able to feel today, and I'm a different person for that, but it's still, and it just comes up from time to time, and I'm pretty much gotten at losing that, but it's still a part of me. It's ingrained, and so anyway, I have many, many, many more great things, and not so much, you know.
Yeah. Well, just know that even though your mind says that's DJ's identifying with that trauma, you want to help DJ say, you know what, it doesn't have to be who you are. Yes, that happened to you, but it can release the trauma. Yes, it happened and it can heal. It does take a little more time, but don't let DJ say, oh, this is just who I'm always going to be now. This is a scar that will never leave me, and I'll never be free of this anxiety or this fear, because that part is not true, because you can get past that anxiety and that fear. DJ can be free of that if it is willing to let it go. And I feel that it is. Like, I don't feel like sometimes we hold on. Yeah. Sometimes we hold on, or DJ will hold on to things because there's some benefit to having it. And I know that sounds bad, but it's like there's something I'm getting. DJ's like, there's something I'm getting out of holding on this identity of being traumatized or being this or that. But I don't think that's the case for you. But just have a conversation with DJ and say, you're getting better. You're not a broken thing. You saw some, yeah, you saw some stuff. You've been through some stuff. You had to put up with a bunch of stuff, and I'm sorry that you did, but you're strong. So the more you can, give her those words of like, you're a strong, strong person, and you don't have to live in this fear. And you are, Julie. You're a strong, strong person. I know it.
I know it too, but thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thanks for bringing that up. That's something, it's sad to say, but it's all too common. A lot of people have those same type of childhood traumas around alcoholic parents or step parents, or even they're not even using alcohol. It's just their parents are in so much pain that they don't know how to be a parent, and then they scare their children. And so it's a very common thing. Okay. All right, Patty, I think we addressed there's no restrictions to how much food you can eat. It's about eating the right foods for your body. Yes. And, oh, Julie, I just saw your next. Yeah, it is. And thank you for sharing. That is a very, thank you for being vulnerable and being brave enough to just, speak it out. Sometimes that can be healing too, to just say, you know what, this happened, and I'm getting better from it, and that's okay, right? Yeah. Okay, and we have the link posted there for the lifetime support. If you want to do the PH360 for lifetime, you can just click that link. It's there in the chat box, and you can get that. I definitely encourage you to do that. Like, it's your health. It's your doctor for eternity. Hopefully you won't need a doctor if you can do all the stuff that it suggests you can do. You can avoid and stay out of the doctor's office, except for health and wellness checkups. Okay. So thank you, guys. If there's any more questions, let me know. I think that's all that I can see. Thank you for all of you who did the detox the first go around. Thank you for those who didn't give up on yourself and said, you know what, I didn't do it the first go around. It was a lot of trouble, but I'm going to do it this time. And you did it. Thanks for not giving up on yourself. Thanks for not giving up on me. We're all in this together. We're all getting better together. So if there's no other questions at all, and thank you guys, like, you showed it up today. I think everybody must be out. I don't know what y'all are doing. Thanks for showing up and thanks for being here for the calls and being here with me. That helps me a lot. And we will just all say goodnight. Okay. All right. We'll see you on the
Good night.
next call next Sunday. Good night. Bye.